Creative is king. Creative is really king. So when it comes to the creative element of your advertising, the videos, the photography, the design, the copywriting, it is what is up-leveling brands and it's up-leveling ad results. The other thing that we're seeing too, Nicholas, is that every platform has their AI placements now. So they're like, hey, this is our suggestions for where your ad should go. What I would implore any small business owner or even large brand is that Google, Facebook, Amazon, wherever you're advertising online, they're not your friend. They're not your friend. They want to help you make just enough money that you stay around on the platform and you keep spending more, but not so much money that you only need to spend $1,000 a month on ads to make 20 grand.
Welcome to another episode of From Startup to Wunderbrand with Nicholas Kuhner. This is my serious face because I'm starting the conversation, pretending we haven't had a good old giggle before this. But anyway, with the track record of owning 10 businesses that have collectively generated over $1 billion for more than 1,200 clients, including Fortune 100 companies like Target or Target, Time Magazine and American Express, Dave brings a wealth of experience to the table. At 29, a stark warning from his doctor became Dave's wake-up call. This pivotal moment shaped his mission, helping business owners scale quickly without sacrificing health and well-being. Now, because he loves his well-being, Dave sits as CRO, which is the Chief Revenue Officer of a global powerhouse agency, and helps businesses scale from the mountains from the mountains in a house by a river with 3 waterfalls. Merging conscious capitalism with an unconventional marketing approach. Who needs 3 waterfalls? That's just going a bit overboard now. Dave forges a path for holistic growth in business and life. So Dave Valentine, welcome.
Happy to be here, Nicholas. This is going to be fun, man.
CRO, that's just a fancy name for sales director, right?
Yeah, I prefer a sexy name for sales director, but yeah, fancy works too, yeah.
$1 billion, obviously cool clients, 1,200 of them. I'm surprised you've got as much hair as you have, because if you noticed, I haven't had 1,200 clients, but it has had its impact. I've just got to touch on one thing. I went onto your website, and because I'm a brand guy, I had a look at your agency, which is called Finch. Now, Finch is named for the most adaptive species on the planet. Finch has continually focused on one thing, e-commerce growth. So I love that it is very focused and centered on one particular area, because a lot of companies, a lot of startups and businesses, they want to do everything. They want to do e-commerce, they want to do this, they want to do that, and then they generally are crap at all of them. And it continues saying, we're a simple bunch of tech heads and e-commerce experts ruthlessly focused on enabling businesses to break through the glass ceiling of growth and scale operations through proprietary technology and proven strategies. So that all sounds great. Then the next line, our values: transparency, empowerment, and collaboration. And I think it's spelled correctly. If I had to ask you to recite your values, can you do it?
Well,
go.
I'll tell you. Yeah. So here's what I'd say, Nicholas. We're actually doing a massive brand overhaul. So no, I couldn't recite the core values, and the reason why is they don't actually fit the team anymore. Finch is old. It's been around since 2008, and it's exchanged ownership a few times and leadership a few times. And so I've come in with a new leadership team, and we're in the process of implementing EOS, which is how I was able to run 7 companies at one time and only work about 35 hours a week doing so. So we're implementing all these new practices. So no, I can't tell you the core values right now because we've been hashing back and forth. What are the new ones? So I couldn't even tell you.
So are these the new ones? Because I'm just saying,
No.
because transparency, empowerment, and collaboration. I mean, come now. Surely that's what any business should be doing. I would fire that brand agency just right now saying transparency. Because if you're not a transparent business, why even put that? That makes people suspicious. Like, what are they trying to hide? Are they actually transparent? I just wanted it that was my zinger for this episode.
Oh, I liked it. I like transparency as a core value for agencies. I'll tell you why, Nicholas. Every agency that I've ever been at lies to their clients unless it's an agency that I own. So if I own, so like I'm just being honest. So a common phrase would be like, we need a new idea, and we're gonna sell them on that in this interaction, and we're just gonna not look at the bad numbers, or we're running ads. Just trust us. We're getting you good results. We're gonna show you screenshots, right? Which is fine, but one of the things that we believe in is like we have our own dashboards. So like any client can go in at any time and see how their ads are performing in real time. They can see what campaigns are running. They can see how those campaigns are performing. They can see changes that we're making. It's a different level of transparency that we're probably going to keep that core value. It's a different level of transparency, Nicholas, because most agencies are like, no, that's the secret sauce. You can't see that. And it's like, no, this is your company. Marketing, advertising, they're vital elements to the health of your organization. And if you don't have eyes on what we're doing, it's not just unfair, it leads to bad outcomes for both the brand and the agency. So when we talk about transparency, I would say maybe a better way to put it is radical transparency. I want you to know everything that we're
Now
doing.
you're getting there. Radical transparency is definitely better than transparency. So I'm glad they spoke to you. They obviously took your insights and put it in here.
There you go.
Let's get into some marketing talk now. So I've got to start with this one. What major shifts have you observed in e-commerce advertising over the past 12 to 18 months that are impacting how brands need to approach their paid media strategy? I mean, that's a big question, but there have been some big old changes in the market in the last, I mean, if we took 18 months, and maybe we can go a little bit further than that, because obviously with ChatGPT coming in about 3 years, well, I don't know how long it's been now, 2-3 years, that must have had a radical impact on ads and being seen and people copying shit and everything looking the same. Talk to me about some changes you've seen and things that, big changes that people maybe are not aware of that are impacting their business.
Creative is king. Creative is really king. So when it comes to the creative element of your advertising, the videos, the photography, the design, the copywriting, it is what is up-leveling brands and it's up-leveling ad results. The other thing that we're seeing too, Nicholas, is that every platform has their AI placements now. So they're like, hey, this is our suggestions for where your ad should go. What I would implore any small business owner or even large brand is that Google, Facebook, Amazon, wherever you're advertising online, they're not your friend. They're not your friend. They want to help you make just enough money that you stay around on the platform and you keep spending more, but not so much money that you only need to spend $1,000 a month on ads to make 20 grand. So their recommendations are really, some of them can be helpful and improve your results. Most of their suggestions are built in such a way, structured in such a way, that what ends up happening is you and I spend more dollars and cents to get a 2.5 to 3 ROAS, and they make more money. And so we keep spending $10,000, $20,000, $100,000, $10 million. We've got some clients that are spending gobs of money every month, and we're breaking all the rules that Google and Meta and Amazon would tell you that you should do it this way. So the two things that I'd say is the things that are really different is in the past 18 months, like the creative content has become even more vital on social media in particular, but also in other places. And then in, your AI showing up on the platforms themselves, they're giving you recommendations. Just remember that the platforms are not necessarily looking out for your best interest. They're looking out for their own.
Well, I guess they aren't necessarily charitable organizations. They are there to make money. And I think the likes of, you mentioned Google there, they're a bit under the gun at the moment. And I've been seeing more and more negative press about Google in terms of their algorithms, in terms of how people are following the rules, but are getting terrible returns, as you said. So, following the rules that Google themselves put out and then them changing their minds every 6 months and then destroying the work that people have put into it. So it's the first time I've seen like big companies like SEMrush say Google is trying to screw you.
Yeah, I mean, it's the dirty secret that marketers that are spending millions of dollars a year on behalf of large brands are very aware of. The thing that's great about digital advertising is it allows anyone with any budget to play. Before it used to be, hey, if you wanted to do some marketing, you would do a print piece, you may do an every door direct mail, you may do a billboard, and you're going to spend 4 or 5 grand, and it's going to take you a minimum of 30 days to know if it's even working, right? Hey, we put the new billboard because no one walked into a car dealership 30 years ago and went, hey, I brought in my TV because I saw your ad. They didn't do that. They're just like, hey, the ads, we put this new TV ad out, and now all of a sudden we've got a lot more people coming to the car lot. Must be the TV ad. And so there's kind of like this weird dichotomy of expectation, results, and a multitude of other options that are out there. But essentially, like, there was this time that wasn't that long ago where we really didn't have good tracking for how people found us outside of them self-reporting, which is not notoriously an indication that they actually came there because of that TV ad or that billboard or that newspaper article. So it's a new thing. And then what's happened due to privacy laws across the globe is that we've lost a lot of that tracking, probably a good thing. And so now marketers got so hooked on that they're like, I got to have that data still. And at the end of the day, a better measurement as we move forward, because so many people are opting out. The report that I just saw earlier this week, Nicholas, was that 60% of people have opted out of cookie tracking on their devices, which is how we track ad results, or most people track ad results, not everybody. And so people are looking for new models to track individuals and how they're engaging with digital ad content across the web to get a more holistic picture of what the sales funnel is for a particular e-com product and how their customers are finding those products and then making those purchases.
So you're talking a lot about attribution here, and that's the big challenge that a lot of marketers are finding now, is that Google says, no, I brought that in. Facebook says, no, I brought that in. All of these guys are saying it's me. And from your personal experience, and when you say to clients, what is the best way to track attribution?
So we're a big believer in AAA attribution models, which what that does is it gives us a larger amount of data that then allows us to better understand how a customer is finding us. Because, like, there's some
before you go into triple M, I'm a savage. I missed triple M.
Marketing mix modeling is what it stands for. And so essentially a good way to put it in simplistic terms is, right now we're saying, like, look, Google's saying this, Facebook is saying this. A better way to look at it is, hey, they saw our ad on Facebook. They also saw our ad on Google. They saw our ad 3-4 days ago on Facebook. Then they found us on Google today, and that's when they made the purchase. So was it Google that drove that result? Well, to Google, yeah. Was it Facebook that drove that result? Well, to Facebook, yes. What's the actual way that customers are going through the purchasing process? They're finding brand awareness on Facebook and Instagram. And then we're kind of retargeting them. And we know that we're showing ads and retargeting to them across the web, but they didn't click on it. So they saw ads for 4 days, and then they Googled us, found us, and then made a purchase. So it's a more holistic understanding is what that creates of the advertising customer journey versus, to your point, well, the way that attribution models typically work, one day, if you set it up on Meta just with their native settings, one day of viewing an ad, Meta's going to count that as a purchase. 7 days from clicking an ad, Meta's going to count that as a purchase. Google, a lot of times, is set up very, very similarly. So you can have that scenario that I just laid out where someone clicked on a Meta ad and window shopped online, and Facebook's going to say, hey, that was us. And it happened days later, right? And so part of the triple N modeling really gives us a better picture into how the purchasing journey occurs, and it gives us a more accurate understanding of how we should attribute those dollars and cents.
Another theme that you're touching on there is the customer journey and understanding that process. So as a business, I suppose a lot of customers come to you and say they just want people to buy stuff. So how am I going to get clicks? Do you explain to them the process of the customer journey and where and how that should work for them, taking people from awareness? Because every year there are new people moving into a target market who've never heard of you before and need a little bit of explanation. How do you go through that process with a client who perhaps hasn't thought through the advertising strategy in that sense?
That's a great question. So the people have not thought about it. And if they have thought about it, Nicholas, they don't think about it in a way that a professional would think through it. So one of the things that I've learned, and I'm about to release a book on this. I've been writing it for the past couple of years, but I tell stories about talking with Fortune 50 CMOs, and a good friend of mine who at the time she owned one local coffee shop. And there's this belief that, oh, the people at fill in the blank household name company, they must know what's going on in marketing. They're the experts. They get invited to panels and to go speak. They have no clue what they're doing. Let me just demystify that for a second. They have no idea. And the woman that has the single location coffee shop, she has better ideas, and I've seen them have higher yield impacts on her small, just around $1 million, just below $1 million a year company. I've seen her actions have a massive percentage difference compared to a large brand. I'll just throw one out that people can have an idea. Like AT&T. AT&T spends hundreds of millions to $1 billion a year on advertising. They're playing a volume game. Everybody thinks, oh, they're smart. They do some smart things. I think that they do. They're also playing around with bigger budgets, having richer data sets, and they're failing a lot. And so the good news is any brand, no matter how small, even if it's just an individual, can really exponentially grow in 2025 by just being willing to fail. And I actually wrote about this on LinkedIn last week, and I laughed the whole time. I wrote this article where I was like, if you're not wasting dollars in your digital advertising, then you're not doing it right.
I saw that one. Yeah.
And it makes me laugh, Nicholas, because I'm like, most people are going to read that and they're going to go, that's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, it is crazy. And it's a little bit tongue in cheek, and it's fun. And it's also true. I want you to tell me part of the thing that I do with people is I'm like, we're going to find out what doesn't work. Because that's just as important as what does.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think there's a lot to be gleaned from other people, and there's also a lot to be gleaned from the failures that we have in digital advertising, digital marketing.
A lot of folks struggle, and I'm sure you find that you've perhaps found this, I found this, is that there are so many awesome channels out there. There's Reddit, Quora, Facebook, Discord, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest, all of these amazing things. And our marketer is sitting on all of them. And I've just come, and I teach marketing, so I should practice what I preach as well. I say, focus on 1 or 2 channels and nail it, win at those channels. But what have I done? I've spread myself on like 20 channels, obviously trying to see what works and what doesn't work. But it's so tiring, and then I don't do any of them well. So I've decided recently to do a difficult process of paring down the social media channels that I use and just make sure I know exactly what the hell I'm doing on that channel, know it inside and out, read the new articles, read the tutorials, and win on that, versus trying and catch people on 100 different platforms where I'm doing a half job. What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, I always tell people to kind of like self-reflect, because I think that's where it starts, right? So like I had a client who Finch actually just acquired their agency and a month ago, and we folded them in. But his whole process, Nicholas, like his whole business, which is $1 million plus agency, they get all of their leads through his TikTok postings and TikTok lives. Every last one of them. Great. He understands something about himself. He's really great on camera. Like he is a dynamo when it comes to just doing this that we're doing right here, having a conversation and making people feel seen, heard, understood, and people kind of like him. I have other people, friends, former clients, whatever, current clients, that it would be a disaster if we put them in front of a camera like this. But can they write long form? Oh my gosh. And they love it. Like I have a really, really, really good friend who he gets all of his clients by posting on LinkedIn. And what he does is he goes around town. His wife brings his iPhone, takes his iPhone and takes like pictures of him looking snazzy, and he looks very smart in all of them. And they're like an aesthetic background and whatnot. And so he posts that alongside a LinkedIn written text. And I think that one of the benefits to the question that you're asking is there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's. Like, there's no wrong way to do your marketing and lead gen when you're getting started. When you're getting started, just lean into the things that you're really, really good at. If that's writing, great. If that's speaking, fantastic. If it's creative and great. If it's cold outreach, great. I love it. If it's just content, fantastic. There's not a wrong way to do it. And then there's a point in time where your organization gets big enough. Big enough is different for everybody. Big enough could be we have $5 million in revenue and we're profitable by 30%. So now that $1.5 million that I've got in profit, I'm going to take $500,000 of that and try a new channel or two. This is something that we do with clients all the time. We've got a chocolate client right now that we're doing this with. She's always advertised on Meta and Google. She's got emails running. She's got organic social posts going out. She's growing. She's never advertised on Pinterest. She's never advertised on Reddit. Mother's Day is coming up. We're going to test both. And I told her I was really upfront. I was like, look, I'm not going to charge you for this. We're just going to run it as a test for free. We recommend that we spend $2,500 per month for both of these for the Mother's Day campaign. We're going to make some of that back, but we may not make that all back because I don't know how this is going to go for you. But we've done that with other brands. We throw them on Pinterest and they get a 22-to-1 return on ad spend. And they want to fly to the Pacific Northwest and kiss me on the mouth. And I'm like, no, I'm married. But it's one of those things where as you get bigger, you get to play. And as you have more budget, you get to experiment. And that leads to improving outcomes.
Well, it also looks like you're willing to take a bit of a risk. And I think that is a difference between perhaps Finch and other companies. You're investing in your client. That's what it sounds like. So you're investing. 100%. We're saying, look, this is probably going to work. We're going to put a bit of our cred on the line here because we think this is going to work for you. And I think that's a great way to grow business. And I'm sure even if it does fail, the client is appreciative that we've tried. At least now we don't have to worry about that. We know that girlfriend doesn't like us. We sent a drunk text. Right. Now, they didn't respond. Phew. So that happened.
That's right.
You mentioned Pinterest. Now, I've got a bit of a love affair with Pinterest because it is a bit of an unloved platform, and they've done a heck of a lot of updates and tweaks to their platform, which is making it just blow up and become a place where people should be looking at. Are there, maybe your thoughts on Pinterest, but are there any other platforms, maybe legacy new media platforms or digital platforms that are worth people taking a look at?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So people are snoozing on Pinterest. To your point, so last year we placed quite a few ad dollars on behalf of our 50 or so clients. The best performing platform by a mile was Pinterest.
I get the best responses on Pinterest. I'm a podcast.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, it's wild. So I think that people are sleeping on Pinterest. People are sleeping on Snapchat. They think that that's gone, or why do it at all? The cost per impression is so incredibly low, and it does require good creative. However, it's a younger audience. If you're trying to reach younger audiences, 16, 15 to like 35, it's a great spot to be. And I mean a great spot to be because it's so inexpensive to advertise there. The other thing that I'd say is people are missing out on some other platforms that are pretty fun. Spotify advertising, Acast advertising. These are places where you can go advertise in the middle of a spot, like someone's listening to music and your ad goes there. Acast, if you don't know this, Nicholas, you should use this. It's advertising on podcasts. And so you can write the script and the host can read it, or you can do your own read. And so it's actually a great way to grow your own podcast. I consulted with one of the premier podcast agencies on the planet last year before I came over to Finch full time, and they used Acast to grow podcasts quickly. Why? They're already listening to similar content, right? They're already a podcast listener. They're already listening to stuff that's similar to what we've got. It just makes sense. So yeah, I think that those Those are some options. And then Reddit is remarkably good. And people don't even know that you can advertise on Reddit, but Reddit's becoming more and more the go-to place for Google. When Google changed their algorithm, it started to actually elevate Reddit threads as a higher status of SEO. It's way more important than people used to consider it, and so it's showing up really high in the rankings. So you can advertise on there, and guess what happens? You're now showing your ads to people that are clicking on it, looking for answers within a community, and you've got the solution to their question. So there's all sorts of fun places to look at. Those are my 3 or 4 that I would say, like, go to Spotify, go to Pinterest, go to Reddit, and then go check out Acast, because those are all places that you can start for really inexpensive amounts, like $500 for a singular campaign, and you can just see what you get in the way of results, and they're surprisingly good.
I suppose we're starting to look now at vanity numbers, the change of people thinking about vanity numbers. Because before, when you went onto Google, oh man, I can reach 100 million people, or 50,000, 50 million people are going to see my ads. And I think, to your point, with Google changing algorithms and with all of these activities happening that are throttling views and clicks, etc., people are now starting to look a little bit more at micro-targeting, because we can with AI and obviously the kind of systems and proprietary technology that you've got, going for smaller influential markets rather than trying to reach 1 million people, rather reach 10,000 or 500 people where your potential to actually, where they're actually interested in your content is going to mean result in a higher click-through rate and a higher ROI, etc. So is that kind of some of the thinking that you've got, going away from these huge numbers just for brand and now going into targeting your great creative to sort of hyper niched markets?
Yeah, God, astute question. So one of my favorite, well done, Nicholas.
Thank
Truly.
you. I mean, that's why they pay me the big bucks on this podcast,
That's right. Yeah, so one of the metadata pieces that we pulled from spending over $36 million last year on just social media alone was that when you're advertising on social media, that one location, like multiple locations across social, when we looked across the board at small brands, at big brands, household names and brands that people have never heard of, we found this common thread. And here's what's interesting. I'm answering your question here. When someone follows they follow your Instagram, they follow your Facebook, they follow you on Pinterest, TikTok, whatever, they are 6.8 times more likely to purchase from you than somebody that doesn't follow you. What that means is we run a similar kind of playbook, and I recommend that people listening do this too. We have if it's a small brand, we will have a very lo-fi shot with a phone sort of video where it's the owner and founder saying, this is why I started the brand. And it's just their story, right? And it's not even super highly produced. It's just telling their story. It may be 2 minutes long. And the only thing that we do is try and get new followers with that. That's the whole goal of that ad asset. And then we just kind of refresh that every now and again. Over time, we're able to then retarget those followers with ads. So where organic content, new followers isn't helping so much anymore, because the TikTokification of social media means that more and more across the board, if you have a really good piece of creative, you can go viral anywhere. It doesn't matter how many fans, followers you have. What it does do on the ad side, though, is it allows people to continually see your content, engaging with your organic content more whenever they're seeing your ads. In addition, you're then able to say, like, hey, I can work those people through a funnel knowing that they've already raised their hand and they're interested in following me. And if they unfollow me, then they're now out of the bottom of the funnel sort of content, so it doesn't matter. We're not showing up to them. But you can basically spend like 25 cents, 30 cents to get a new follower on average. Then you can retarget them. And so if your average cost to acquire a new customer for an e-com brand is like $40, let's call it 42 because it's just going to be easier math for me, divided by 7. It's going to be $6 to acquire that customer now. So it just makes it a lot easier. It's way more economical. You're getting a follower for, let's call it 30 cents, and then you're getting a transaction for 6. Instead of going to cold traffic and spending $42 and not picking up that fan, it's just a much better model. So we really found create fans who know, like, and trust your brand and then advertise to them. And that's the game.
You are the first person in my entire career doing marketing who's explained why having followers is important and how to monetize them, or the cost benefit. I've never heard anyone say it before in real life. I might have read it, maybe I've read it somewhere, but I've never heard anyone articulate it in real life. So it's probably worth doing an article on that. I know to give away some of your secret sauce, but I mean, it's out there. Sorry, this is going to be going out and people are going to hear it. They've got to do something about it though. But really, that's such an important point in terms of, it goes again into maintaining a customer is much cheaper than trying to get a whole bunch of new folks as well. So it ties into that whole process of, once you've got somebody, give them good content, give them, the challenge here is, again, maintaining the quality of the content and doing organic advertising almost versus those placed adverts. And the tracking ads are going to be more difficult. And everyone actually hates it. Everyone hates being followed around the internet by the same ad. I've bought the damn thing. Fuck off already,
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I don't need another vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Precisely.
So you touched a little bit on micro brands or smaller brands. In terms of structuring campaigns, and we have touched on it, that's why I just want to go through it a little bit more. Somebody who is turning over $1 million a year versus a $20 million brand, they obviously have different growth trajectories or trying to do different things. Let's take a $20 million business, because to take a $20 million business to $50 million is really difficult. To get to 20, probably not as difficult as people think. To take it from that 20 to 50, what kind of psychology do the owners or the people doing the advertising need to have to change their mindset from spending little bits of money here and there to now going, okay, we're going to drive growth through advertising because we've got a great product? How do you come in and help?
Yeah. So if it's an e-com brand, because it's different. If you have a B2B brand or an e-com brand, everybody kind of goes through the same sorts of challenges. 0 to 1 million. It's all about new sales and new clients. That's it. Because that's all. So it's all sales and marketing. That's the whole game the whole time. Once you get over that $1 million mark, you start to have different problems. The awkward teenage stage for every single business I've ever consulted with, done marketing for, whatever, is 3 to 5 million. The reason why it's awkward typically is you need to pay higher caliber employees, but it eats into your profit like you have never eaten into your profit before. You start to have to provide benefits to try and attract those employees. Once you get over 5 million to 15 million is kind of smooth sailing. You're just repeating a process of something that you've already done. You usually add another acquisition channel or two, and then you make those hum. Once you get to 20 million, to answer your question, the challenge then becomes a few-fold. Number one, if you've got a physical, tangible product, you're starting to have to balance, how much do I spend ordering products in bulk to get a bigger discount per unit so that I can have a bigger margin on the backside versus spending more money in marketing and advertising. And finding that balance is a sincere challenge for every brand. Some brands, very, very, very few, accidentally get it just right. Most don't. They stub their toes. They're going to muck it up. And so the bigger conversation really becomes around, like, how do you create a different level of demand, whether it's false scarcity or discounting or whatever that looks like, in order to make sure you're getting enough pull through so that you're moving the product. The other thing is, once you get to 20 million, and I'd say really even once you get to like 10 or 15, but certainly when you're at 20, you have to really take this seriously. You have to make sure that you don't lose customer, even if you're e-com, right? So what do I mean? I have a very good friend, and they have a company that does AI robot handwritten notes. Literally, you like put in You put in like a ballpoint pen and it writes out notes on cards. And those go out in mass, and they mostly work with e-commerce brands. And so the reason why that's important is that it's making sure that every single customer feels like they're important, like they're seen, like they're heard, right? The other thing that I'd say is you have to take the customer journey once you get to 10 million, and you have to really start to understand it at a deep level. The first thing that happens when somebody makes a purchase, doesn't matter if it's a box of chocolates, if it's some athletic gear, they instantly start to doubt. Did I make the right decision? What's the first thing that almost every company always does right after you make a purchase online? They send you a receipt and say, thank you. That's all about the company. That's nothing to do with the customer. So instead, start to ask a better question. Okay, they just made a purchase. They're terrified that they just made the wrong decision. What can I send them that's going to make them feel better about the decision they just made? Not a receipt, not a here's your tracking code, but something that's going to make them feel better. So a thing that we helped one of our clients with, I'm going to use the chocolate company again. Instead of sending, here's your receipt, we sent hey, just so you know, what you're about to get in the mail is a handcrafted, all organic, ethically sourced, living wage based cacao product that has been handcrafted by our family for the past 4 generations. And we're so excited to share it with you. By the way, when you get your chocolates, please put them in the fridge because we have no preservatives in them. We can't wait for you to enjoy. Nice. That's it. Right? So what does that do? That instantly makes the person go, oh my gosh, I'm consuming something that's good for me. I'm consuming something that's ethically handled and sourced. I feel better about my purchase instantly. So you have to start to take the customer journey and really start to evaluate, is this leading my customer to the spot where they're like, I love this company, I love this product, and I want to keep purchasing on repeat. That's what big e-commerce and retail brands do really, really well. And that's why brands like REI forever had such a high level of customer retention because they would just do returns. No matter how long ago you bought it, they would let you do a return and exchange it. If there was a factory default, they'd just let you do it. Even if it wasn't, they couldn't really verify that you bought it there, right? They would just take it. Oh, this is 15 years ago, and the liner of the jacket started to fall out. Here's a credit, go get a new one. That sort of move creates a journey for customers where they want to stick around. So you're going to scale up your ad spend. You're going to spend more. You're going to be more creative with your offers. You're going to show up on more platforms. You may start to do some advertising on podcasts. You may start your own. There are all sorts of other things you're going to do. A lot of times, though, Nicholas, people mess up I like to call it the blocking and tackling of growing a business, and it's really making sure that you're customer-centric and that you're being thoughtful about how you're developing those long-term relationships with your customer base.
So we've gone from the $1 million business to the $20 million business. At Finch, the things that you're talking about, for example, the understanding of the customer journey and understanding elements that are outside of advertising, so digital advertising. Does Finch look at that, or is that just what you'd consult to customers in your spare time?
So outside of advertising, so Finch is currently building out a consulting wing. We've started to bring in, so because
those are the kind of insights that are going to make a difference as well, business-wise, not just on a transactional.
So the new leadership that's come in to Finch we have an audacious vision, and the vision is really simple, but it's quite large. We really, when people think about starting e-commerce or growing e-commerce or scaling e-commerce, we want them to think about Finch. And Finch may just be a free resource. We are in the process of producing 3 podcast shows that are all brand new with the new teams that we have. And they're geared towards different audiences. And so we have one that's geared towards a higher end audience in general, where people have an already established, percentage of market share in the space. And they're talking about campaigns that they've done that have been ridiculously successful. Then we've got another one that's really geared towards the small business owners. So like that $1 to $25 million in revenue. How do I go from where I'm at to where I want to be? And then 25 million to 500 million really is the next level up. And it really could go to $1 billion or more. but they have different problems, right? They have a totally different set of issues in scaling and getting to the next level. And so we really want to be a free resource. We also want to be a paid resource. In the next 5 years, we expect to acquire some software that enables our teams to be increasing in results on behalf of our clients. We also want to acquire some consulting firms that could match some of the things we're doing on the e-commerce side, speaking to some of the things of like logistics and sourcing and those sorts of items. That's a big problem for our e-com clients. Negotiating with Amazon for cheaper deals, like it's a concern. So we want to have a consulting wing that does that. And then we want to fill out the rest of the service sectors for marketing and advertising as well. We just hired our first ever designer to be at Finch to start to offer creative services to our clients at a very, very low level. If they need something more robust, we have great creative partners for that. But we're really trying to become a singular spot for e-commerce brands to go, man, if I have trouble, I'm going to go talk to Finch first and get their help in this process, even if it's just we're reading the free content, engaging with the media. And if it's more than that, then great. But that's really where we're aiming for. And so we do look forward to providing more consultative services like you're talking about right here.
Well, my next question is, where is Finch going in the next 5 years? So you screwed that up for me. So thank you for answering that
You're welcome.
Anyway, I've interviewed somebody who has got a whole bunch of robots, and they handwrite all of these cards. It's brilliant for like Gucci and all of these high-end stores, and it gives that, and in your own handwriting, etc. It's fantastic, and it really does give that personalized aspect, and which is necessary because yes, digital ads are great, but I think with AI making such an impact on everyone, people are going to want that hyper-personalized customization, and that what AI is going to allow us to do and is have more of or it's going to force us into having more personal interactions with customers as they get more difficult to reach.
Totally.
We could bang on forever. I've got a whole bunch of other questions, but maybe we can save that for another call. Dave, it's been fantastic chatting to you. If people want to read a bit, I mean, that article that you wrote, for example, I saw on LinkedIn, but if people want to read a little bit more about Finch and what they do, anywhere from a small business or small and medium-sized business to the guys spending the big bucks, where can I send them?
Yeah, so they can go to finch.com and check us out there and check out our blog and sign up for newsletter content as well. They can also follow me on LinkedIn or any social media platform at RealDVal, RealDVal. And I post content on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter. So if you're looking for that kind of content, I'm always talking with the delivery team and getting the latest and greatest insights from them and then coalescing that into some fun information. You can go check that stuff out there.
I heard Pinterest is a good channel, so you should probably get onto that as well. Dave, it's been a pleasure chatting to you. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing some of the acquisitions that you make in the future and reading some great insights on your blog.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for chatting, Nicholas.
I really do appreciate your comments. So why not go and watch this live on YouTube or go to my website, kuhne.no. That's KUHNE.no for more information.